Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You're watching the Great Grad Job Hunt, another update with me, Aman, and welcome to the video. So I recently managed to get in touch with and speak to a few people working for 3 of the big 4 accounting firms that provide consulting and other services and so on. And I was able to ask these people a little bit about how they managed to secure their jobs with these large companies and what it's like working for them. And I also got some great bits of advice on how to go about applications and get in touch with recruiters and do certain things to really make myself stand out in my applications and just to boost or increase my chances of securing a graduate scheme. So the first person I spoke to was a final year university student about to get a work experience placement with one of these 4 firms. Now I know this isn't really easy to do, but this person already knew someone working for the company who was able to set him up. Now, I know not all of us knows a guy working for one of these big firms that can hook us up, but this person did tell me something else that they did, and this was to use LinkedIn to get in touch with recruiters and try and make those connections and see if these recruiters can then look at their CV and so on. So this definitely was a helpful bit of advice that I'm looking to learn from and put to use in future when looking for my graduate job. So the second person I spoke to is a trainee at one of these big 4 firms who recently finished a very intense graduate scheme. And they told me with how systematic the process is right now that the best thing to do is to ensure that my mental arithmetic, logic and problem solving skills are super sharp and on form, because the aptitude test plays such a huge part in differentiating between candidates. And lastly, the final person I spoke to was someone who got a job with one of these companies at quite a later stage in their career. So having worked multiple jobs in their career and for different sized firms, they were pretty experienced and had some valuable words that they shared with me. And the advice that they gave me was that just to phone through to these big companies and speak to someone at the reception or the person taking the calls, and then introduce myself. Say I'm a graduate and explain how I'm looking to get some experience with the company, and just to ask if it's possible to have a meeting with or shadow someone working in the field that I'm looking to go into for a day or so. So when I do ultimately go through the application process, I can mention by name the person who I've shadowed or had a meeting with, which should hopefully add a bit of a personal touch to my application and impress the recruiter. But anyway, these are just a few of the tips and things that I've learned. I know at the end of the day it can be pretty difficult to know a guy who works in a big company and then exploit that connection, but it certainly is very possible to get in touch with recruiters or employees and then form those relationships or connections, which can ultimately help us out when we're applying for jobs. But anyway, thank you again for tuning in today's video. I hope you guys found it very helpful. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, all that great social media stuff. And I'll see you guys all again on the Great Grad Job Hunt.